And welcome back to the 260, your home connection for all things Summit City. Join us right now for a returning guest back by popular demand, the baseball legend, David Doster. And of course, joining him, your two hostess with the mostest. It's Dave, the Mayor, Rickert, and Joe. I see you, Walburn. You, me, us, and them. We are the 260.
Yes, we are, and what a great interview. We just wrapped up with Landon Livingston, and Dave, we just continue to roll through the 260, laying down that content, hearing great stories, hearing about journeys. Love that with Landon Sonar because, my gosh, he was a dancer.
Real good.
Real good. So
Real
just
good. We were trying to.
Did you know that, Dave?
Trying to come over here with
I had
like
no idea.
What is it? Triple threat, quadruple threat, septuple threat. I mean, the guy's got so many different skills, and they all play off of each other.
And that's what's fun with the show, with the 260. You know, and Dave, the 260, when you and I kind of brainstormed this, we wanted to have people from the community, but we also wanted to hear more about their background, their journey, their stories. Not always just total sports, but more about their background. And I just think that was fascinating with Landon starting with the dancing. And our next guest, we had him on once before, but we didn't get a chance to really learn more about his story playing ball overseas. So I'm kind of laughing to myself because I was a Stratomatic geek growing up. I loved the game. And it's the first guy I've ever met that I had his Stratomatic card, baseball card. So I think it's awesome to have Dave here, to have a big leaguer, but also, you know, Dave, I'm excited to hear about his journey overseas and what that was like to play not only in Mexico, but really to play overseas in Japan.
Well, the reason I wanted, we just ran out of time the first time he was on, but there was a show called Eastbound and Down, and it was awesome. I mean, it was really, really funny. And the concept was a guy made it to the show, gets in a little trouble, has to dance around the minors, and then he goes to Mexican League. And that's where I wanted the show to come back to. I want to hear about Dave when you was in Japan.
Yeah.
What the experience was like, the communication when you go to Mexico. So start us off at the beginning of when you left.
They're probably 95, 96, 97. I went down for Winter League. Now, Winter League in Mexico is completely different than Summer League. Summer League's 120 degrees during the day. You can't even breathe. I played there 1 year towards the end of my career for the summer. But the Winter Leagues...
So you actually did have to play in 100.
Oh, God, yeah, it was hot. And then the Winter Leagues, they start in October, run through December, and then your playoffs are in January.
Sure.
So their biggest day in Mexico in the Winter League is Christmas Day.
Really?
Like sellouts.
Wow.
Sellouts. Because that's what they do. So my goal was to go in October, have the team in the playoffs before Christmas, because then it would let me come home for Christmas.
Wow.
So it was kind of in my contract.
So you was like a player coach?
No. Just playing-wise, I'm like, guys, we have to be in the top 4 by Christmas in the league standings.
Wow.
Because at that point, then I can go into negotiation and say, hey, I'm going home. I'm coming back if you're going to let me go home. If you don't let me go home, I'm going home and not coming back.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a
negotiating factor.
A play by me. So
what was it like to go from seeing major league pitching to now you're down playing Winter League ball at Mexico? I mean, what was that like? I mean,
so think about this. So you have Mexico, Venezuela, Dominican, and Puerto Rico. Majority of Major League Baseball comes from those countries.
Sure.
So you're playing against. So 1 year, I'm going to throw some names at you. Our starting lineup, the first 6 hitters, Trinidad Hubbard.
Wow.
Me, Vinny Castillo.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Arubio Durazo.
Oh, wow.
And Jason Grabowski, who played first base for the A's. That was our first 6 hitters in our lineup.
So the competition in the league was just top of the
early on, October, those major league guys start floating in end of October, November, because they're getting themselves ready for spring training.
Wow. So guys use that just to get ready.
Spring. One of our starting pitchers was Elmer DeSenz, who pitched for the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
And then we had, what was his name? Gonzalez. He was a middle relief guy.
Sure.
A young kid for the Rockies through about 97.
Wow.
So yeah, you're seeing Benji Gill, who's now he had a huge. He managed the Mexican team in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. So I mean, you're talking Kareem Garcia, who played for the Dodgers. So you're seeing major league guys. So early on, yeah, it's a tune-up, but come playoff time, when the big bucks can be made, that's when everybody starts showing up.
So there is big money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was making really good money.
Wow.
And then when you come to the playoffs, what I was making per month, we were making per series if we won the series.
Wow.
So
it was really, you guys were really playing for the dollars.
we were playing for the bucks. And then if you win, so it's a whole playoff system in Mexico. If you win the playoffs in January, Mexico gets to send a team to the Caribbean World Series.
Wow.
So your team is the base team, but like a lot of Americans wouldn't go.
Right.
So they'd come home to get ready for spring training. They can add anybody from our Mexican league to that. Now it becomes a Mexican versus Puerto Rico, Dominican. One guy I talked to, I played with, came home one year from the Caribbean World Series and bought an Escalade with cash.
Wow.
With cash.
With cash, Dave.
Cash, yeah. So there's money to be made down there.
So did that team that you were talking about, how far did you guys
We got beat in the finals.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, we got beat in the finals. I wanted to go so bad. I wanted to go so bad. So, but yeah, so I played there 4 or 5 years. Played 4 years in Hermosillo, and then I played a year in Obregon.
So
in the
taking
winter.
the baseball out of it,
Yeah.
what's it like to be
So
living there, trying to communicate?
You're in a hotel. The team puts you up in a hotel, and then there's usually 4 rental cars between all the Americans. And then I usually had my family there. So I had my wife, and then my oldest son, Owen, and then a couple years, Ava was a baby. But Spanish was okay for me.
Oh, you're good.
I could get by. I can order food if I wanted to. I mean, you got to order food. And then all you need to know is cerveza. That just means beer. So
main thing.
And then
that and if you're playing ball for money,
Yeah.
donde dinero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, por favor.
Where's the money?
Por favor, yeah.
Vámonos, let's go.
So, but I would say 80% of the team spoke English. And our manager was from America. He was American, managed in America, and then married a Mexican lady, and he lives down there now. But so he was bilingual.
Yeah.
So, and our hitting coach was bilingual. So yeah, you're very rarely not with somebody that.
So you did
understands
5
enough.
years there.
Through 4 years, 4 years in winter
4
ball.
years.
Yep. And then I played a summer in San Luis Potosí, which is more south central. So all the winter leagues are north in the winter, and then the summer leagues are down south. So it's even hotter.
Yeah.
In the
So
summer,
you're-
in the summer,
you're going-
you're just getting hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just getting hotter. So
So you did it for how many? Now let's go to Japan.
yeah.
That had to be a transition.
That was a big transition, but at that time, so that was 2001. So I was in the big leagues in '99, came back to AAA, and then started hearing rumors about Korea, Japan. They were interested in me playing over there. So my agent made some phone calls, and we got hooked up with the Yokohama Bay Stars, and they offered me and 2 other guys on my team contracts, and then another guy on another AAA team that we knew. So all 4 guys knew each other.
Oh, so you had.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's really weird. Japan is a different it's a different game, man. It's the manager controls everything.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the manager is the GM of the team.
There's
There's a GM, but the manager is probably right under the owner, and then it's the manager, and then the GM, and
I mean, you had to see it in movies, Joe.
Yeah.
That manager,
yeah.
he has complete control over those guys.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's no talking back.
So that's what happened to me and the other guys. So here's our story. So we sign late August, October, because I flew to Florida to meet the guys and we signed up. My agent was in Clearwater, Florida. So all 4 of us sign. I get my contract, and it was a good deal. It was more money than I would have made if I would have made a major league roster.
Sure.
So for my family, it was the right thing to do. It was just me, my wife, and my oldest son, who was 3 at the time. And they gave me I got part of my contract as a signing bonus, so I could live that off season and get ready to go. But once we signed, come January, we're getting ready to head over in December, January. They fire the manager
Oh, jeez.
who picked us.
Oh, man.
So the manager picked us 4, hire a new guy,
He don't want you.
and he doesn't want us.
Oh, jeez.
So we end up playing all year under this guy. We had a pitcher, left-handed pitcher. He was making $600,000 a year for that season.
Over there.
Didn't pitch in the majors one time.
Wow.
Because the manager didn't like him.
Wow.
So he brought his own guys in. He'd filter. So on a major league roster over there, you can only have 4 active Americans.
Gotcha.
On the major league. Minor leagues, you can have as many as you want. So we were traveling back and forth and up and down. And I went down once, came back up, and then I never went down again. But it was just because he was being a.
What was that like to go down in the minors?
It was
awesome.
Man,
In Japan.
I mean,
It was
in
awesome.
Japan.
No,
Was it awesome?
It was awesome.
Really?
Because the manager was such a
Dick.
You just want to get away from
I wanted to
him,
get
huh?
away. And all the coaches in the minor leagues hated the manager.
So it made it better.
So I
I'll
went
stay.
down. I showed up.
I'm
first.
getting paid no matter what.
And their minor league system's one huge team.
Really?
So there's
Wow.
not A ball, double A, triple A. And you're at the same complex. You go to the complex every day. And you travel a little bit by train, and then you come home at night. So you're never away.
Yeah.
So I showed up. Manager's like, do whatever you need to do to get ready for the game. See you at 5 o'clock. I'm like, all right, sweet. So I'd go take batting practice, get ready for the game. And I hit like 400. I was down there and got called back up, and yeah, so I never came back. But I was playing here in the States. I'm 2, 3, 4 hitter. I go over there. I hit second and third all spring training, and then opening day I'm hitting 8th in front of the pitcher.
He just hated
So
you.
as a player, I mean that makes a big difference because you're used to hitting in that.
Sure,
It's a different mindset, hitting in different. Or I'd have been okay if they would have told me, "Hey, we're going to hit you 8th.
Now I'm prepared
Yeah.
for that.
We're going to hit you
prepared, sure.
spring training all 8th." You know, I was hitting homers and spring training and doing all that, and then I ended up hitting 8th. I mean, I bumped up every now and then, but if I didn't get a hit in my first 2 at bats, I was usually pulled. I'd sit on the bench and
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, hey, you guys are paying me.
Now I'm getting paid.
I'm getting paid. I don't care.
That's like that. Well, that sounds like that Tom Selleck movie
Yeah.
he was in.
And that's exactly the first thing when I signed.
You ever seen that one, Joe?
Yeah.
He goes to Japan
Goes
to play.
to Japan to play.
So
The
that
guy,
was-
And
that
the manager hated him.
the guy that signed me, he was Japanese, but he went to Cal, played at Cal.
Yeah.
So he was American. He goes, go rent. God, what was the name of that movie? He goes, go rent that movie, watch it, and that's pretty much what it's going to be like. And he, it was
Go
not-
watch the movie,
Yeah,
huh?
it was not far off. It was not far off.
Because it took him forever to get the trust.
To get the trust. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think if I would have had that original manager,
You would have had
I
it.
would have had that trust because we had communication. We had so. But hey, it is what it is.
Well, so how many seasons did you do there?
So I did 1, but I had an option for the second year, and they offered me a 2-year guaranteed, which we turned down.
Wow.
Which now I kick myself.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, wow.
how they do their pay scale is you get your base salary, and then you have a whole incentive page. So you get points. So you get a point for a single,
Sure.
2 points for a double, a point for a walk, RBI's a point. So you have a whole point system, then they have it all broken down monetarily. So if you get 200 points, you get this, blah, blah, blah.
Did you like that, Dave?
I did. Because
Yeah,
it made you
know what
made
you're
you wanna
doing.
do well. You know what you're shooting for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my first year would have been, my second year base would have been my base plus my bonus would have became my base for the second year. So I'm like, well, if I have a really good year, they offered me $800,000 for 2 years.
Wow. Wow.
You didn't take it.
And I didn't take it. But I knew what I was going to make that first year
Yeah.
and what I could have made bonus. I was looking at the bonus like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can add 200 to 300.
Sure.
And I didn't want to cut myself short.
Wow.
But looking back now, so basically the second year option was if I wanted to go back and they wanted me back, I would have went back. So I said, yep, I want to come back. And I didn't have a bad. I mean, I hit 280, 10, 11 homers. So I told them I wanted to come back, and I kicked myself for this is the biggest thing. So right before I'm getting ready to leave, so 9/11 happens that year.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
My
boy.
wife flies home the month before 9/11 happens. So at that point, all the Americans are like, we just want to get home.
Wow.
And we're not.
That's
we're,
the deciding
we had
factor.
We had another month of the season, which we played, because they were debating about playing or not, which I'm glad we did, because if
Yeah.
we didn't play,
You wouldn't got
all
the
the
money.
airports were shut down.
Sure. What would you have done? You just
So I was
sat
sitting in
around.
my 4-bedroom
Wow.
apartment by myself, just
Yeah.
So at the end of the season we play. My interpreter comes to my apartment and he's like, "Hey, they want to send you to a mini camp for a week. Would you go?" I'm like, yeah, "I would, but we had a Disney cruise
Yeah. You had some family obligations.
scheduled." And I said, "If this is going to keep me from coming back, I'll cancel my cruise. It wasn't that much. We'll go again. I'll go to the mini camp." So he came back to me the next day. He's like, "Yeah, I talked to him." He's like, "Nah, they said it's not a big deal. It's okay." but I think they held that against me that I didn't. go.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it was the communication. So we had 3 interpreters, him, and then we had a guy who was our trainer, who was English. Mom was Japanese, dad was English, so he was bilingual in like 4 languages.
Wow.
And then we had a Japanese interpreter, and those 2 guys, we always talked to those 2 guys instead of the Japanese guy, unless we really had to, because the
Did you ever pick up anything?
did what?
Did you ever pick up any vocal?
I know how to count to 10, because that's all we did. Every day we stretched, we had to count to 10. Every day all summer, hitch, knee, sun, she, go, rook, hooch, coo. I mean, that's
How about that, Sonar?
yeah. I mean, it's nothing.
That's awesome.
My name, Doster son. When they say your name and add son, it just means Mister.
Doster son.
Like
huh?
we say Mister Doster. If they say Doster son, that's just it's a sign of respect for you.
Wow.
So
Did you see anybody over there you played against in Japan that blew you away?
yeah, I did. So Hideki Matsui was with the Tokyo Giants.
So you played against him.
Wow,
guess
you
I played
played against
him.
him.
Oh boy.
Matsui, wow.
So he came over the next year. The year that I went there, Ichiro came this way.
Wow.
So I didn't get to play against him.
Yeah.
The Fukudome, who played for the Cubs,
Yep.
he was with the Yomiuri Giants, so played against him. He's a third baseman there. I think he played second for the Cubs.
Yeah,
for a
played
little
second
bit.
for the Cubs.
You probably still had your season tickets in, Joe.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know if he told you, I was the only guy. The year of the World Series, the Cubs, they called me up that spring, and they're like, hey, Mr. Walburn, you've got your season tickets.
Yeah.
Everybody's renewing. Don't you want to renew? I'm like, no.
no.
It's a little business up there. I'm not going to really be up there
Yeah,
a whole lot. They're like, oh, you got beautiful season tickets, and you could probably get some playoff tickets. We're going to make the playoffs. I'm like, yeah, I don't know
Whatever.
about that, man.
Oh, my God.
Here are the Cubs.
So, I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. He's like, oh, we're going to have a playoff here. I said, yeah.
Yeah, you say that
And then
every
he
year.
said- and then he says,
on playoff tickets, or is that
yeah,
part
yeah.
of
Once you get your season tickets, then you're in
first
line
choice.
for the playoff
Gotcha,
tickets. Yeah,
gotcha.
so
right.
I've got to be the only guy you're looking at. The year the Cubs won the World Series, Sonar, I'm the only guy. And they actually told me on the phone. They said, you're the first one we've talked to who hasn't
Isn't
renewed.
renewed. Oh,
So
my
that's why Dave checks me with the baseball knowledge,
Good.
because I unfortunately am the only guy in the history of this country that did not renew his
No,
season
oh my
tickets for the
gosh.
year the Cubs actually
That's
won the World
crazy.
Series.
Oh, my gosh.
Of all
that's
the
crazy.
years, Dave.
Of all the years. Yeah.
The only
That's
year
crazy.
this isn't ever going to happen, by the way.
How much of a mental game? I mean, my gosh, you played baseball
Yeah.
at the highest level all over.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the camera and talk for a second about the mental game of baseball and just what it took to play, Dave, and to be that successful, man. Because
It
I've
is.
always looked at baseball like such a difficult sport because it's so mental.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's difficult, but it's also a sport where, we've talked about this. You can go 0 for 3, and if you don't let that affect you, don't go 0 for 30.
So what's the? But that's my question.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? I mean, it had to be a challenge because after you have a couple of days, you don't
Yeah.
get a hit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to me, that would mentally wear on me.
It's I mean it's from my parents. It was instilled in me early. We talked about my dad working 40 years for Norfolk and Southern.
Wow.
My mom she raised 4 kids and worked nights at a nursing home.
Wow, just tough.
She was the
parents.
oldest of 13 kids that lived on a 55-acre farm in Michigan.
Wow, there you go, Dave.
So,
the
yeah.
mental toughness,
Yeah.
the ability to be relentless,
Yeah.
and the ability not to let things bother you,
Yeah.
and just the mental toughness, man. Because I think when I watch these guys play baseball, it's just I admire their mental toughness.
And I think a lot of people see that on TV, especially in the big leagues, and they think, well, they don't care. You can care, but you can't care too long. You're mad you got out, but
You got to throw the domino
3
out.
more at bats.
You got to throw the
You
domino
gotta
out. Get
throw
back.
it out, don't you?
know?
Well, that's the thing about baseball. It's one thing with football or
Yeah.
different sports. Sometimes you can disappear at times, but
Yeah.
baseball, man, you step in that box, man,
Yeah.
and it's. I mean, it's
You're an individual.
It's such an individual moment,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
And the mental game of what this guy is going to throw you,
Yeah.
or you're trying to look at body language or
Yeah,
watch.
you're
pitches.
looking.
I
You're
mean,
tipping. Is he tipping his pitches? Is he
Yeah,
going to give
yeah.
you, something? Nowadays I watch now, and these guys are throwing 99, 100. I mean, and they talk about tipping's cheating, and hey, if you're out there tipping your glove,
Figure
I'm
it
just
out.
taking advantage of it.
Exactly.
You know,
You're
I'm not,
watching
I'm not stealing signs and giving them. I'm not banging on a trash can.
No, we're not Houston.
Yeah.
I'm not out of second base doing this because
You still got to hit it, man.
You're gonna get plunked in the head, you know. But if you're out there tipping and I'm hitting, I see you tip your glove, and I know a breaking ball's coming. That's part of the game. Don't tip your pitches.
What was, of all the major league parks, what was the park you walked out in and you're like, wow, man, I'm actually like here, man. I'm here in this uniform.
My first
playing
year
in this park, man. What was that moment?
My
like?
first game, Colorado.
Wow.
I
Just to
walked
be
out, 55,000 people.
Wow.
And I had played baseball since, like I told him, I was swinging a wiffle ball bat at 8 months old. But to walk out, and I wasn't even playing.
But to walk out and be like,
I wasn't even playing. I was like, oh my God.
I'm in the big leagues.
Yeah. And batting practice, man, it's high altitude. And
I was going to say, how you breathing?
I'm 8 swings. I'm like,
I'm out.
I mean, just the excitement and
Oh,
the altitude.
totally,
man.
Hyperventilating.
Oh my God, you're just like, oh, I need to sit down and get a drink of water. But when that other second baseman got hurt, third inning, he hurts his knee too, because Mickey Morandini from IU.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
how I got called up.
Sure.
Kevin Jordan, he's playing second. He gets a base hit, steals second, tears his not ACL, but
Meniscus.
cartilage.
Oh, yeah.
Meniscus. And Jim Fracosi runs down. He's like, "You're in." And I'm just like going, "Oh my God."
Not today, I'm not.
And I go in, first at bat, Walt Weiss. I'm like, don't hit it to me, don't hit it to me, don't hit it.
Yeah.
First freaking pitch,
Boom.
right at me. Best thing that could have happened.
Wow.
Wow. It, pick it up, throw him out at first
That's
base.
the baseball guys right there.
They just,
That's just that had to be
Instincts
that had to be a
take
surreal moment,
Oh,
though,
God.
man.
Oh, yeah.
You just fielded Walt Weiss.
yep, threw
threw him out
Guy I
first.
watched play for the A's forever.
Yeah, played forever for the A's. He was
Yeah.
quick. Man, that just had to be such a
Left-handed hitter.
left-handed
Pulled it.
hitter.
Luckily, he pulled it right at me.
That had to be just such a freaking.
And funny-
It had to be such an awesome moment.
Funny story is we take batting practice. We're getting ready for the game. I don't even have my spikes on. I still have turfs on because we just got on batting practice.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and one of the starting pitchers, Russ Springer, pitched for the Astros.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you better get your spikes on. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna play today.
I'm not playing.
Wow.
Something in the first inning it clicked me. I had to go to the bathroom. I'm like,
Better put those
never
on.
put my spikes on. 2 innings later, you know what happened? Jim Fragosi, if I would
You're
have
gone.
I would have never played again. They probably would have sent me down that same day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So just something
would-
told me, put your spikes
Spikes
on.
on.
You would have been sitting down during the game.
Oh God, they would have go back and get on the
Especially
plane.
Jim Ferguson.
Yeah, you're going back home.
Yeah, he was old school.
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Old school. Yeah.
Wow.
But awesome.
What
yeah,
was
good
what
dude.
was when you were playing with the Phillies? Who was a couple guys you were really close with, or really enjoyed sitting on the bench? Let's
Jeff Brantley?
Jeff Brantley. Interesting.
Really took me under. Like he really. There were just guys that, back then, they still out. I wouldn't even call it hazing.
Yeah.
Rookie rituals.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, I got a good one for that. But Jeff Brantley, really, he was God. He led our Bible studies on the road.
Wow.
So just he just took you. I always had to bring him a Diet Coke before the game started. Tall glass, bunch of ice, Diet Coke. Because we had the fountain. We had the fountain drinks
Yeah.
So I always brought 2 down. I'd drink one and he'd drink one, and so Kurt Schilling actually was pretty good back then.
Kurt Schilling, huh?
Yep. Darren Dalton. He wasn't playing, but he was there.
Boy, Darren Dalton.
Yeah,
was
he
just
was-
a
he was
warrior.
hurt,
He was a
right?
catcher.
Yeah, he was
He
hurt.
was
Hurt
a
his knees.
warrior
Yeah.
for years,
He
wasn't
hurt his knee in spring training.
That's correct.
Lenny Dykstra hurt his back in spring training. I played on his scramble team in spring training, but he hurt his back and he never played. Darren never did, but he would come.
Yeah.
And the first night in Philly when I hit my walk-off homer in the 10th, Darren Dalton gave me a $100 bill because he picked me that night as his pick to click.
Oh my!
Wow, that's fantastic. So Darren Dalton
Paid for me and my wife's
That's
dinner.
the
Yeah.
that's the stories I want told.
That's fantastic. Okay, now take us to
And I got invited to the pitchers only sauna that night.
pitchers only
like, you
sauna.
got- you get to
How about
come in.
that, son?
Yeah.
Are you hit a walk-off home
Yeah.
run? But now take a moment, man. What was that like, man? When you made connection, you hit a walk-off home
Yeah,
run.
so bottom of the
what
10th.
was that
yeah.
like to
So
round the bases?
I already,
Did you even feel it?
I already had a double.
Yeah.
And then I put us up, and then I scored the winning run, or not the winning run. I scored a run, got hit in the head because Andres Galarraga threw the ball home. Jeffries hit a chopper to
Galarraga,
first.
yeah.
I was on contact play. I dive in, the ball ricochets off my helmet, knocks my contact out.
Wow.
This is like in the 8th inning. Ninth inning. And then, or bottom of the 8th, come up. Vinny Castilla hits a home run in the 9th to tie it. Because I'm like, I'm going to be the hero. I score the winning run. And then we go scoreless in the 9th. We go scoreless in the 9th. They go scoreless in the 10th. And then 2 quick outs. I didn't even have my batting gloves on. I'm putting them on real quick and grab the tar. First pitch down an in slider. Bullpen.
game winner over Ellis Burks. Leaps up.
Yeah,
Ellis Burks.
Remember Ellis Burks, man?
I'm telling you, Castillo
Those
was
are
on
great
that team,
names, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I played against all the old guys, man.
Man.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, do you even
I just
remember
remember
rounding the bases?
No, I remember hitting it and just kind of watching it. And it's hard. Those parks are so big.
Oh, they're huge.
You don't
You
know.
know you hit it well, but they play so big. And our wall in Philly is probably like 15, 20 feet tall.
Sure.
Because they had the plexiglass, and the bullpen was behind it. And then I just saw it. I'm like, man, get out of here. And I'm watching. I'm running, and
Wow.
I hit first base, and I see it go. I see him jump, and he was below the plexiglass. But I'm like, he better not catch this ball. Wow. But yeah,
That's
I
cool,
come home
man.
and everybody's waiting, and everybody's banging me on the head, and I do an
And
interview.
got $100 out of it.
Got $100 out. Yeah, I walked up, he handed me a $100 bill. I'm
That's
like,
a
freaking sweet.
That's a memory for life.
Yeah.
Now I got to ask you something a little different.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest asshole you ever came across in the big leagues?
Kurt Schilling.
Okay.
Wow.
How's that so
he
dark?
could be both. No, he could be both.
Wow.
So I sat between. So in '96 I didn't, but in '99, when I made the team, I sat between Scott Rowland and Kurt Schilling, and they would just all day just back and forth at each other.
Yeah, and Scott
Funny
Rowland.
games,
Yeah, and Scott
but-
Rowland. Obviously Scott Rowland,
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, man.
Was my roommate in AAA when I got called up for
Really?
first time.
Wow.
And my wife to this day, I struck out 4 times the night before. We're in Norfolk, Virginia. Struck out 4 times. I get a phone call at 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, this is Del Unser,
Yeah.
player development.
Yeah.
Because Mickey got hurt last night. And me and Scott were playing Sega Genesis.
How about that?
That's
He's
how old
playing
it was.
Sega Genesis
So
with Scott
baseball
Rowland.
tonight, we see Mickey right off the bat. Boom. Gets run over by our right fielder, Glenn Murray. Probably 6'2", 235.
Wow,
Linebacker.
just truck Mickey.
Truck Mickey. He's like, on the ground. So Scott's like, dude, you're going to big leagues tomorrow. I'm like, yeah. Plug in Sega. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, 8 o'clock, Del Unser. Hey, this is Del. Mickey got hurt. You're going to the big leagues. I'm like,
Wow.
who is this? They're pranking. Somebody's pranking me.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute. It's 8 o'clock. Ain't none of these
None of your
guys
boys are up.
We
None of your boys
didn't
are
get
up.
up till noon because you
Yeah.
you play. You're
Played
done
late.
at 10:30.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You eat, grab some beers in the clubhouse or
Yeah.
at the bar or whatever. You're not getting home till 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching TV till 3.
Yeah.
So then I'm sleeping till noon. Like, damn, this is okay, Del. What do I need to do? It's like, well, you'll meet them in Colorado tonight. You'll find out tonight. Meet them in Colorado. They played tomorrow afternoon, so you won't be in that game, but you'll play in the next game.
Wow.
So I got Scott. I got to go to the mall. I got to get a shirt because in AAA you can wear shorts, but you
Sure.
just have a collared shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't have any jeans, nothing. So I go to the mall, trying to get a hold of my wife, my family. Nobody's around. Family's in Michigan for a funeral. My wife's at the pool with the other wives at the apartment.
Yeah.
So I leave. And back then, I don't even know if I had a cell phone yet.
Wow.
Oh,
In
no.
'96, they were just. I didn't have a big one. I know that. My wife.
You didn't have the bag?
My wife calls the room when I'm gone. Scott Rowland answers.
So
Hey.
so you already left for Colorado?
No, I went to get a shirt. At
Oh,
the
went to
mall.
get a shirt. Okay.
Hey, Scott, is Dave there? No. Hey, he called me. Do you know what it's about? No.
Oh no!
He didn't-
Come on,
He
Scott.
did not want to say a word. He's like, could you have him call me when he gets back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you want to
Okay,
let
bye.
you tell her.
Click. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't want to say.
You don't want to say anything.
Yeah,
That's-
which is awesome. So
That's the best, great part of the story.
It's
He made it
fantastic.
before Roland.
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
He made
Yeah,
it
Scott
before.
got called up later that year.
Wow.
We were in Atlanta. Actually,
What
he
was
got-
that like
He
when
got
Scott
called
showed
up
up
and I
and
got
you were
sent
there?
down.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, you got sent.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got sent
jeez.
down. No, but thanks for reminding me.
Sorry, brother. I thought you'd be there waiting
Nah,
for.
he was awesome. I called him. I sent him a text when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and he texted me right back.
That's cool, man.
awesome.
But think about that, man. That was your AAA
That's why I
roommate
said,
in the
Scott,
Hall of Fame. I mean,
can't
think about
believe-
your ties, man.
Yeah.
But Roland,
Yeah.
Schilling. Think about your ties to the game, man.
Oh, I got
How
stories.
cool is that?
why
man?
was Schilling such an asshole?
That's just him.
Those
He
stories.
was pretty cool off days, but when he pitched,
He was focused.
was like-
That's
Is that what he
why.
needed?
Don't touch
Is that
me.
why? Is
That's
that
why
what
he
he
Get
was
away.
good.
Get out of my
yeah,
space.
don't touch him.
Do you think that helped his game? Or you just,
God, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
he
it?
was-
God, yeah. See that,
he
Dave?
knew-
That's interesting. He was so
knew-
dialed in.
He knew. He was one of the first pitchers that used video recording. Like he had every pitch on every person he ever faced. That he
Really?
threw to that person.
He had that much detail on the guys.
He was a computer, like, he lost a ton of money in the computer business. because he tried to start his own gaming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
right.
that.
But he's a huge computer. Yeah, he had every Jeff Bagwell. Would I throw him here? Would I throw him here? Would I throw him here?
Wow,
so
so
he
he
knew
was
every
that-
situation
Wow.
in his mind.
That's fascinating, Dave.
Plus, he could throw 94. But
Yeah, the study though, man.
yeah,
The,
yeah.
the detail, man.
it's nuts. It's
Wow,
nuts.
that is absolutely
He knew
nuts.
he would throw. He knew he would swing at a splitty in the dirt. You know, he. That's what makes those guys
Wow.
next level. You know.
Dave,
But
right now we know you work for SDI and everything, but you do a lot of tutoring.
yeah.
What's that like for you to coach?
It's fun. I mean, I keep a very small clientele. So a lot of the kids I have now, I've worked with for 2 to 3 years. I got 2 girls at Heritage that have been varsity starters since their freshman year.
Sure.
Worked with them since they've been in 7th. They went to school with my youngest son, my youngest son Easton. So I've known them, but I just got a rapport with them, and it's easy. But it's just fun. It keeps me
Keeps
connected.
you connected to it.
And
Because
seeing
you
it-
said you don't even like watching the games anymore.
No, I don't watch a lot of baseball. I mean, I'll watch the playoffs and I'll watch a baseball classic because
Yeah.
it's just fun.
Is it just because you played at such a high level?
I
that
never
you just
did.
Don't, you never did.
Even
really?
as a kid, I
just always wanted to play.
I want to play. I don't care.
Yeah.
Other than the baseball bunch on Saturdays.
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench and the baseball bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, but it just keeps me connected. And there's so much. I mean,
Is it easier to work with girls or boys?
I don't know. My girls are pretty good. My girls are pretty good. But the guys I got are good too. So.
Sure.
But the girls seem to listen. They're just sometimes more mature.
Sure.
And and I found that you really got to watch your age, because if you start too early, kids are in there chasing butterflies.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't want to take your mom and dad's money.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to mean something. I want you to be here because
You want to be here?
I don't want you to be here because mom wants a half hour, an hour to herself to go shopping. I want you to be here because you want to get better. And I got a good feeling about when kids come in if they really want to be.
What age is that?
I haven't done anybody under usually 13 right now.
13 's your
But I used
cutoff.
to do 7, 8-year-olds, and it was
No, that's
just broken tee after broken tee.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't hit a ball off a tee, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you feel like with the coaching now and with your background and all the great years playing professional baseball, do you feel like now with the coaching you've kind of found your purpose to complete your journey in baseball? I mean,
I think
what
so.
a
I
journey,
think so.
man! And but
Yeah.
but it's got to kind of feel like you're kind of completing your purpose to pass on what
pass
you
it
see
on.
in the skills, man.
Yeah.
Because to play in the big leagues and be able to pass that
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And it's not just playing; it's just the person. I played 14 years professionally and only
I
a
know
year
you
and a
did.
half in the big leagues. So you
speak,
gotta love
speak
it.
to that,
you
man.
know?
What was you played in the big leagues, you
Mhm.
played in Japan, you played in Mexico. What was it like to get sent back down though, man?
Sucks,
I mean,
man.
how did you just deal with that and
It's-
mentally cope with that?
No, thankfully my wife Kim was there.
Yeah.
And my kid.
See, that's
You know?
a huge factor because a lot of these guys, it's very, very hard on their psyche, Joe.
I think it'd be
They go back-
devastating.
you
I mean,
get
here
up
you
there,
are, you
and then
get
you
up
get sit
there,
back
you-
down.
Yeah.
It's a tug,
Back and forth.
tug of rope,
Yeah.
and that's when they can't handle it.
Just little things like.
But he had his wife,
Yeah,
there.
my wife and my son. Owen was very little at that time, and and then Kim, my wife, is hardcore. I mean, I'm telling you, I was struggling in AAA and not doing well, and she's like, "Well, quit then."
Wow,
I'm
wow, that would be man.
I don't want to quit.
Wow,
She goes, "Well, start playing better."
Then get your shit together.
That's
Wow.
that's my wife in a nutshell.
wow, that's
Yeah.
tough, man. Because
She's a
there
great
you are.
real estate agent because of that. Because she does not pull any punches. But yeah, that's
Now, is your mom and dad still alive?
they passed away.
Okay.
Dad,
It's Mother's Day
10 or
weekend.
11 years ago on Christmas Day.
Okay,
I heard the sirens from my garage. That's how
Wow.
close they lived to us. And then my mom passed away about 5 or 6 years out. She was done. Dad was gone, and she wanted to go be with them.
Just
so,
done.
It's
yeah.
Mother's Day weekend.
Yep.
Take a moment, man. Look in the camera and just talk about what your mom and dad meant to you, and they had to be so incredibly
wife.
proud of
Your
you.
wife.
Yeah.
and your journey, man.
Yeah, my dad was old school. My mom had me at 40, so she was old. I was a young pup, and then my older brothers and sisters. But, my dad, they just worked hard. They're when nobody's there for you, your family's always going to be for you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Brothers and sister, 2 brothers and my sister. Obviously my wife. She, I've got stories of my wife sneaking my kids into Mexico because she forgot the letter that you need to get through customs.
Wow.
Yeah, sneaking, can't get out of Phoenix. We go to Nogales. She sneaks across the border, rides a bus for 8 hours with my son and my daughter and one diaper.
One diaper.
And one diaper.
Wow.
She gets, I'm sitting.
Now, see, that's the part of the baseball journey
Yeah.
that we want to.
I told her she needs to write a book.
Maybe we should. You know what? We should have your wife on.
She's got a story.
That's what I want to hear about.
You'll never have me back if you have my wife on. But yeah, gets in. I'm waiting there at 1 o'clock in the morning. She gets out of the cab and says, "Whatever you have in your wallet, give to this cabbie." And I did. Every peso I had, I gave to him.
It's fantastic.
Because she got him there. She pointed to her necklace. It was a baseball. And she goes, Naran Harrows, which was our team.
Wow.
And he's like, see? Got her, took her straight. Had all of our suitcases on the
What
top
a
of it.
story.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man.
What a journey,
That's
man.
just
I mean,
one.
Just a
It's
journey.
crazy.
All the ballparks. To play in all the ballparks.
Yeah.
All the different leagues, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy. It's
what a
nuts,
journey, man.
Yep. And playing some crappy ones in Mexico, too. But you learn to appreciate the good ones. But, oh, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
there's...
Dave, that's why, like I said, I'm very appreciative
Yeah, man.
that you
anytime.
came back on because this
There's so many more, man.
that's
I
what
got
I'm
so
saying.
many
That's
stories.
why I was so disappointed the first time he was on
Yeah.
because these types of stories I wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
So I really appreciate you putting in time with us. Keep up with your
Oh, yeah.
teaching.
No, I love it. I
Hopefully
love
get New Haven back up on top
it.
someday.
Trying, man. The problem is I don't got any New Haven kids.
That's
I'm
sad.
teaching all the other schools, but hey, you know,
Well,
it's all right.
you've already done the rapid fire, so we don't need
Yeah.
to do that, but there's been one added question.
Okay.
Past or present, who would you want to sit down and talk to?
Oh man, I thought about this over there because I heard you guys asking Landon, and I know you guys probably think it's a baseball person, but honestly, probably I'd like to sit and talk with Jesus just to
That's a
Wow.
great answer.
Whoa.
just to see, you know, was it truly the way it is? You know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to. I mean, I'm a believer. My
Yeah,
family's
yeah,
a believer.
we're all Christians,
We're all
and you know
Christians.
what?
My kids went to
Absolutely.
Central Lutheran. That's what we believe and teach. But I mean, tell me about it, man. How bad was it?
Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's a
Great.
great
I
answer.
don't
I
think-
thought about that the whole time. I heard you guys.
Yeah,
they're gonna ask me this question.
I don't think that one will be topped.
Yeah.
That won't be top,
Yeah.
man. It just shows us just the depth of your soul
Yeah.
and the journey, man. And I'll tell you what, Sonar.
And believe me, I like wine, so I'll bring a bunch of water. You know.
I tell you what, Sonar. That's a name spoken with pride in the 260. Dave Doster, and a guy who, what a journey. I mean, think about every batter's box, Sonar, that he entered into. What a journey, man, and just your whole life, brother. You know, it's impressive.
It's been a blast, man. I hope it continues for a little longer.
That's, we do too. That's once again, he's a great man of the 260.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you know, people ask me. I've lived all across the country and the world, and I came back to New Haven.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
They always find their way back.
They all want to leave.
You know, everybody wants to leave
Yeah.
at first, and they're like, man, I don't want to be in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana. But they have these incredible journeys, and then they find their way back like
Yeah.
Dave.
Right. Like with Landon, I can about guarantee, if it's just done with college or he goes to the NFL, he will end up back in Leo. I about guarantee it.
I would have. I always said if I ever made it and had that money, I'd have built a house here. You know how far money goes in Fort Wayne and New Haven?
It does.
The cost of
And-
living?
Exactly.
Come
the
on.
cost of living, the
Yeah.
schools, the
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason we really wanted to do the show was just to kind of celebrate, you know, not only the great people that have come from the 260, the 260 itself, Dave.
It's growing, man. It's growing. It's getting
It is
better.
growing, man. It is growing. Well, thanks for joining us,
Yeah,
Dave.
thanks for
And
having me
again-
anytime, man.
Again,
Anytime.
a name spoken with pride always.
I got about 1 million stories.
Dave Doster. Sonar, if you want to give some thanks to a few people and take us out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for joining us with the 260. You can find us here every Thursday night at 7
It's the
o'clock,
260
starting
podcast.
live at youtube.com/@the260. Don't forget that you can also listen to us on Spreaker. And we'd also like to thank Denise. We'd also like to thank Matt Brumby, all kinds of different people that help put this show on together. And of course, Ben back at the studio and
Thank
back
you,
at
Ben.
the network, driving and making us all look and sound fantastic. And now, you, me, us, and them, we are the 260.